Kazimir,
You done fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
you have a visitor in your dreams. You are standing in a circle, a dueling circle, and in front of you stands a figure, head to toe, black metal armor, carrying a mace, forged of black metal, the end of which is a singular hand. And in this moment, you feel an overbearing presence. A force pushing down on your very being, upon your will. The weapon drops to the floor. This figure kicks it over to you. Pick it up.
He will in this moment be a good bitch and bend down and pick up this weapon.
Could you roll initiative for me?
What?
Ah,
Oh boy.
What?
Hi everybody and welcome. We're D&D Boyband, a group of friends all like to be D&D pretty boys because apparently it's not fantasy unless everybody's hot. Luke is here. He's just on his way back. My name is Jamie and joining me tonight are a group of heroic adventurers. First of all, we have Ben as Mercy.
Hello.
Who is currently in a bit of trouble. Sai as Quan, who's a paladin again. Blue as Kazimir.
Well, hey, girl. Hi.
Eski as Pod.
Hello.
Luke as Arvis, rejoining us
Return of the Mac.
after his adventure to Aberdeen.
He back.
Matt as special guest Atlas still.
hello, good evening.
Otherwise, I think that's everything.
Yeah.
Is there anything otherwise? Cool. So to recap, and I understand there will be a decent amount of recap because some of us don't remember what happened last session. Some of us haven't been here for a couple. You're currently on the path to defeating Razor. After Read Home, you interrogated Naliska, learned some of the plans, had a back and forth with Malik, did a week or two of training, got some feats. I believe I've talked to all of you about those feats, about what you've got, about what you're working towards. You departed. Malik's group is taking a slightly different approach. They're going to go somewhere else. Decided not to share with you, and this time they are joined, given that the numbers have dwindled significantly with the death of Grudel and Corin. They have been joined by Goat, depends on the character, who has promised Naliska's life in exchange
Not anymore.
for their assistance. You have made your way pretty expertly through the swamp. You've had a couple of interesting encounters, but most of the time you have rolled well. You have also gambled well. You have made your way within a couple of days' march to Mountain's Breath. On reaching a dilapidated village, an old Temple of Tyr stood there, and an old priest approached you. As discussed, Quan, despite being a paladin of Tyr, was denied entry. This came at quite the chagrin of the old man, who claimed that Quan must have done something seriously wrong to offend, because even those who aren't directly aligned or have done wrong things, this is a specifically personal affront that was taken. The rest of you thought this was ridiculous, decided not to take shelter with this old man, and instead went to camp outside in solidarity with Quan. Some of you went to pray inside to observe the weave, to understand what was happening. In this, Quan went away and attempted to pray to Tyr, and rolled a natural 1, at which point their body seemed to have been possessed by something that basically said that there was some energy, some force, some cursed item that was keeping Quan's connection to Tyr lost, and that was what the problem was. You all took this literally and attempted to remove curse from Quan. Inside Quan, you found 2 small objects. I believe Eski was the one who, Pod was the one who investigated this, found them clamped onto the heart, and was unable to remove them without some internal pressure and force. You deduced or reasoned that if Quan re-swore some oaths to Tyr, maybe that would help. With a combination of help, blessings, bardic inspirations, these 2 shards were forced free as Quan re-swore oaths, re-becoming a paladin of Tyr. The last thing that happened at the end of the previous session, Pod was given the choice. The green energy seemingly had been wanting to break free, the gold one holding itself in place along with the other one. Pod chose to grab hold of the gold one, letting the green one slip away. We return to what you all can see. So whatever I said last session is good metagame knowledge, but for all of you, what happens? Mercy, your connection with the weave shatters for a moment, and that causes severe mental, psychic, physical trauma. Mercy just passes out. Is currently on death saving throws. Quan, at the same time, you feel the surge of Tyr's energy, that holy magic through you, listening at your fingertips. You also vomit this green energy that almost seems to fly off into the distance. That is the state I return all of you to. Lyra's there. It's the only other NPC. You're in the woods, you're shopping. So that's where we left it last session. Mercy has just passed out, bleeding from the ears, the eyes, the mouth, the nose, whatever you can see. Quan is vomited. And Pod, you're standing there frozen as a voice has just asked you, what have you done? D&D Boyband, to you.
I guess Pod would immediately answer, What did I do?
Fair enough. The voice sighs. All I can do is offer you this blessing. And Pod, in your chest, an amulet shimmers into existence. And
Inside my chest.
No. On your outer chest, an amulet fits around your neck, a golden amulet, kind of made of gold with crystal inset, silver and blue sealed on the outside. Seems to pulse with a very gentle light. Quan, you feel as a sword emerges in your hand, kind of as golden light forms into a sword. And then Eski, you see is like that little like crystal, tiny crystal of gold, almost seems to float out of your mouth and disintegrate into the air. If you want details of those two things, you might need to identify them. And
Maybe
Mercy,
when
make
I
a death
do.
saving throw.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
gonna-
this
I'm
is all
gonna
very
kneel down
well,
and-
but-
I'm going to kneel down and cast Cure Wounds.
No, I just want to see what the roll is, but that's fair enough.
So it's a
Yeah.
9.
9. You fail, but you're healed immediately. And Mercy, upon reviving, if you feel, you look up and you see Atlas above you, and you immediately reach out to the weave and you touch it, and that connection's still there, and everything seems normal. It's almost disconcerting how normal everything feels.
Okay,
What
so like
class are you, Atlas?
Ranger.
I
Sorry,
guess like
go on.
as they bleed from their eyes and nose and mouth and every other orifice, like their human kind of shaggy woodlander vibe disappears, and they're defaulted back to their kind of changeling, kind of dark shadowed eyes, sunken features, kind of amorphous body shape, and then as they sit up, I guess they would look around. Can I see what happened, James?
Yeah, so you look around, and I guess you see others in various states of shock, uncertainty. You see the sword appear in Quan's hand. You see Quan filled with kind of eyes slightly aglow, and a golden aura around him, but also this energy, kind of the green energy, begin to fly away from him. You see Pod amulet appearing around the chest. The others presumably looking on, slightly in shock.
How much of that did I kind of put together in the kind of moment that it was kind of this releasing of this green energy curse that was the reason that...
Why don't you roll a wisdom check?
Sure.
How does Mercy look? Do they look, other than the bleeding out the eyes, like, do they look normal?
I mean, it was almost just on the length of death, edge of death, right?
I think as
Yeah.
Mercy sits up looking as though they are on the edge of death, Kazimir will say, "Goodness, Mercy, what's with all the theatrics?"
I guess that like
Mercy, with that, you know that you so there's two ways you can approach this, and I'll let you decide it. You know that whatever was blocking Quan, there are two stories. You can believe that all of this was wrong, and something here has happened that's incredibly wrong, and you don't know how to handle it or what to do. Everything seems fine, but you don't understand. Or there's the other version of the story, which you can put together, which is whatever object was blocking Quan has been released. However, whatever it was incredibly powerful, is now free, and that's caused this effect. You just being in the radiance of such a cataclysmic change. I suppose I'll leave it up to you which way Mercy goes. But you can certainly put jigsaw pieces together that what has happened here to Quan happened, like what happened to Quan, what has happened about reswearing the oath or the releasing of that affected you in this way.
Okay, so I guess like as Kazimir says this, Mercy looks at them in their kind of wind chime voice, still kind of bleeding. They look to Quan and kind of point and say, "Something was carried within him."
Well, yes, his shards. We released them. That is what happened, isn't it, Pod?
I mean, I pulled something out. I mean, the gold one, he kind of looks a bit dazed and confused. The gold one seemed to speak to me and then flew out of my mouth and disappeared. The green one just, I don't know what happened to the green one. Flew off.
All of you, as you presumably turn to look at Quan and Pod, you see the amulet materialize on Pod's chest, and you see the sword in Quan's hand. The sword, a long sword, seems to be made from golden metal. It's pulsing ever so softly with a sunlight glow. It's almost comforting. It's like warm fire. The amulet's giving off the same energy.
And Quan, you seem disgustingly paladin coded. It's clearly worked.
Well, I don't quite know what that means, but thank you.
How do you feel? Better? More holy? Shinier?
How do I feel, DM?
So, you feel like a weight and a tiredness and a pressing down on your chest has been lifted. It's perhaps the first time you felt like you can properly breathe, but you haven't realized that that's how restricted you've been. This energy flowing through you, maybe it's the first time you ever had coffee or something like that, full of energy. You feel a renewed connection to who you are and your ideals. You're unsure it's different, this connection, than the one you vaguely remember to Pelor. You don't know how much Tyr is going to influence you, but there is a slightly weird and worrying aftertaste from the vomit that doesn't seem to leave and gets stronger if you look at Kazimir.
The sight of my face makes him aftertaste vomit.
Not vomit, it's something else, something worse.
I see.
Wow.
Understandable.
Wow.
What is worse than vomit?
I can
Who
think of
knows?
anything
Well,
like that.
Clearly, Kazim.
I suppose he's gonna try and avert his eyes from Kazimir and not look at him as he... Yeah, I guess... Aside from what we've just experienced, I do feel better, somewhat.
Good. Good. So, your newfound power, you can wield it as you expect to be able to. We can take it to Razor.
I would expect so. DM, what is there around us? Is there a tree?
Yeah, there are trees. There are quite a few trees.
I would like to smite a tree. Divine smite.
I won't make you roll for attack, but you can certainly roll for damage.
Alright. Let's have a look.
Poor tree.
Shit. I'm gonna use it. Hmm. 2d8. Sorry, it's been a while. It's been a while.
It really has, hasn't it?
That's a
It's amazing.
17.
17. Yeah. Are you using the sword?
Yes.
Yeah. As a sword, the floor ignites in flame. There are kind of almost a symbol, a simulacrum on the side made in gold. As you slam in, another figure slams as well, with a sword that almost seems to look like a pair of justice scales. And this tree engulfs in like radiant fire and just immediately erupts, and it begins to burn away as Quan divine smites the tree.
Well, well, well. That's a low whistle. There's nothing more.
Looks like the boy's back.
Mercy kind of coughs and gets to their feet.
Some of these trees were my friends. Sorry, I'm just memeing. Please continue.
And
I
he's
was
like,
literally this close to making the same joke.
I've lost it. I've lost it completely. I can only think of creatures I had known through nut and acorn.
I don't want to know any creatures through nut. Thank you very much.
A dream
Missing out,
strong,
babe.
me lord. Very deep.
That's a good one.
Mercy stands up and, as of shaking as much as they can, says to Pod, "You never should have released. Whatever Quan carried was incomprehensible."
I'm not sure I quite understand what that was. It's not like any sort of curse I've ever encountered.
What happened to you, Mercy? Why are you bleeding from every orifice? Did you experience...
Did you get cursed?
Yes. Did you take the green thing into yourself? Or...
Pod would like to investigate Mercy to see if he has inherited the curse. They have inherited the curse.
Yeah.
Could I do a quick detect
You need to
magic?
remove. You're gonna do remove curse, or are you gonna do a detect? Yeah, either one.
Really, would it detect magic?
No,
canonically,
it didn't
notice it?
detect
No.
anything with Quan. No.
Oh, okay. Can I even? Let me just quickly check. I can't remember how many spell slots I have left. But I can't remember if it was the last one I used or not. Oh, yeah. I guess I attempt to remove curse on Mercy. Did anything happen?
Yep. No. Mercy
Does that count as using a spell slot, or is it just kind of fizzle?
Yeah, it counts as using a spell spot.
Such.
But it is the evening. You are all about to sleep.
Is it the morning? We did this in the morning after sleeping.
Oh, did you? My bad.
Yeah,
It's all in the morning. You're not
No, I
about
have.
to sleep.
it's alright. I don't need spell slots anyway. Overrated.
Rude.
Have any of us asked why these things were in Quan in the first place?
I assume to do with his spell in Abaddon's empire, no? The missing memories? Do you recall anything, Quan, having had your power returned?
I don't remember anything more, unfortunately, but perhaps it just needs time.
Hmm.
Well, your
Well,
memories aren't essential to killing Razor, so no harm done. Apart from to
Agreed.
Mercy, it seems
uh,
inexplicably has been harmed greatly.
Mercy's hardy. They'll get better. You'll get better, right, Mercy? This doesn't happen regularly.
When whatever Quan imprisoned was released, the entirety of creation shuddered. We do not know what this will mean. Quan, why do you carry gods with you?
Gods.
What are you?
Gods.
You surely are no mortal vessel to contain such power.
Mercy, are you feeling okay? I don't really know what you mean.
Creation shuddering's hyperbole, yes? A happy little over-exaggeration?
No. The weave took. Creation trembled in response to what Pod did. Something has been added to the wheel, to the world, which never should have been.
Your weave.
It does not belong here.
Your weave seems terribly sensitive if pod fiddling with it does this. I mean, goodness, all we did was help a paladin swear an oath. It's not that dramatic.
I don't want to miss with any.
Mercy didn't even know, mate, that he had
I don't want to be missing with no Eve, so I'm not. I'm very sorry. I did not mean to affect your weave, sir.
he had blood.
Oh,
We lost Luke.
we have Luke.
You
and
might
we
to
are
repeat that,
not-
Luke.
I'm internet struggling. We're getting like low FPS at face.
This is 1994, Luke.
It is 1994, Luke. Oh, come
I
on.
hear the dial-up sounds.
Come back to him.
He may not recover. I feel the weave now, but yet something is wrong. So Quan, tell the truth. What is it that you carry? And why have you deceived us so far?
I can assure you there was no deception. You know as much as I do. I mean, I had no idea that I was even cursed in the first place.
Can I roll an insight check against you?
Yes.
I think we all know
Yes.
that this paladin couldn't lie to save his life or anyone else's for that matter.
Arvis would roll that bad boy too.
18?
Six.
Yeah, he's being pretty truthful. What seems like he genuinely believes that, you know, he has no idea what you're talking about.
Then perhaps you are some sort of spell placed on a greater being. For surely you must be such to contain what I felt escape from your soul.
It's just a bit of green light, Mercy. Really? I mean, I know your brain has somewhat hemorrhaged, but nothing else seems to be happening. Sky is as droll and overcast as it was half an hour ago. Trees are all fine, no scorch marks apart from the one Quan left, smiting the forest. The weaves on.
Leave Wills.
What
Wheel
did you
weaves
see?
as the wheel wheels.
Kazimir, take my hand.
Are you
I
going
will
to
try
spit
to
on
show
it?
you. I will show you what it is you cannot see.
Do you know, normally when people ask to take my hand, it's for a different reason, but fine. And he offers them his hand.
I have no idea if this is possible, Jamie, but can I try and, like, read the weave and communicate that to Kazimir in some way.
What are you trying to read?
Just like
I'm going to detect thoughts while Mercy does this. Because I think he's curious. Blasé though he's being, I think he's not an idiot, right? People collapsing like that is not normal.
Yeah.
I just like trying to relive the moment of like, I guess like the EMP moment. If
So-
they've re-got it back, the kind of moment that the green light escaped, kind of comprehension of what it was, and the kind of like huge psychic fallout, I guess, from whatever happened.
So roll your wisdom check as normal, and then your
Okay.
percentage dice. And Kazimir, you can see Mercy attempting.
You're not going to hit me with psychic scream damage, are you, for thwarting the memory
Depends
of it?
depends how poorly.
I rolled
Mercy
exceptionally poorly
No.
on my wisdom check, and then I got a 73 on the D100.
High is good, right? We've decided. Okay, you are going to take damage.
Yes.
Both of you. But Mercy, what I will say is that you go back and you see, you're right, Kazimir, you see this at the same time. What looks initially, and I think you would have seen this before, where you've been walking through this. No, you wouldn't. The others would have done. Kazimir, this is the first time you're seeing this. The others who communed with Toad and Mercy, this whole strand, what once perhaps looked like threads, but if you peer closer, each part of it is a glimpse of somebody, something's life, innumerous beyond measure. And looking at it for a single second almost seems sickening. And that's when Mercy is going to and fro and attempting to find the event that you were before. But Mercy, something is different. You have perhaps found what is different. Members of the Orders of Savras, those who give up themselves to serve him, don't have threads, don't have destinies. But you, continuously drawn back to a single thread, because it's the start of this thread that's the event you're seeking. And it's yours. And that's when you're going to take damage.
Oh shit!
Um,
Am I about to have
Kazimir-
an existential crisis?
Kazimir, you can roll a percentage dice
A
as well.
percentile dice.
But you both take 24 points of damage.
I've definitely
24 points of damage. I'm just trying to detect thoughts and see a memory. Christ.
You're trying to observe fate. Get out of my DM.
I roll my eyes and cast Cure Wounds on Mercy as they fall in front of me again.
That was a 68, almost.
Okay.
I just want to point out, Jamie, that if you'd rolled a bit better on those D6s, I'd be dead.
Yeah, I know. That's not psychic screen damage, don't worry, it's not quite as much.
It doesn't need to be.
Kazimir, you have no idea what you're looking at to some extent, but you can pick out what, as Mercy's looking, you see Mercy looking at one thread that almost seems to attach to him, and then you look down, and that's where it clicks that there's a couple of these strands, a couple of these threads that link to you, and you see them trail off into the distance, and up in the future there's a huge clump that almost seems to be a knot, and that's what you see before you both take 24 points of psychic damage.
And do I see I guess the memory I was looking for in Detect Thoughts was the memory of what Mercy saw when the thing was released. So do I get a sense for what that power was or is, or do I get the vibe of the
you
divine
see the
thing?
whole, you see the whole weave shudder with the same green light before returning to normal. You both see that. And there seems to be no change other than the single strand linking Mercy to the rest of the group, to the rest of the chain now.
Okay, I feel like Kazimir's been middle distance staring, observing this.
I'm like catatonic. the second time from psychic damage in like as many seconds, I'm like fetal position on the ground, just like shaking.
Mercy has brain damage.
Kazimir continues middle distance staring, his like eyes maybe bleeding a little bit, and he kind of doesn't maybe move, just stares contemplatively into the distance and goes, "Well, fuck me," and just probably stays there a while.
Pass it out backwards. Atlas heals Mercy. Mercy is revived to some extent.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry. The like shaking, and that was after I'm bleeding out. I'm no longer bleeding out. I'm now just shaking and mentally damaged.
Huh. That's twice.
In Iron. Sorry, go on.
Oh, I was gonna say
Loki.
it's twice in a few minutes. Does
Yeah,
anything
so
happen to Kazimir as well?
He's
Alright.
clearly conscious and bleeding profusely from the eyes, and I think you maybe catch him just say under his breath, "I'm going to study the shit out of whatever that was. Gods, incredible."
Yeah, you might want to take a break.
Break?
No.
What's the matter, Arvid?
No. No. I've seen plagues before, mate. This is how they start.
I don't know if it's a plague. It's a power. It's a.
Hey! It's your fucking brain in order, mate. He's fucking vomiting. Your eyes don't look right, mate.
Oh, I mean, he kind of wipes the blood away from his face. It's sort of, oh, it happens. It's pursuit of power and study of magic. Sort of just you encounter things a little beyond yourself. It's fine. I'll just have to figure out how to master it. Whatever it was.
Hold on a moment. All of you folks is a little bit la-dee-da. I'm from the streets, mate. I've come up from the earth, from the people. I've seen plagues come, and I've seen people go. And this is one of them.
My experience of the plagues is a little different, but if it's a green light plague, then it's a green light plague. It doesn't feel like it, though. It's something else. Opposites. Gosh, it really is sort of divine, isn't it? He looks down at Mercy.
Well, this is
the kind of well down
this is
expression.
ridiculous, right? Now, surely, what are you saying? The stars and the gods have aligned. Us few, merry band of brothers. All of a sudden, the epicenter of some kind of divine nausea. I don't think so. The odds are unlikely.
Yes, I thought it was pretty fucking stupid as well, but kind of my opinion changed.
We are on a way to kill the servant of a minor god, so I don't think it's too far beyond the pale.
Mate, you don't know miners like I know miners. They pray to the same gods as everybody else, mate.
What?
Or did you hear Jess in the background?
No.
I'm not familiar with miners, no.
I'm glad to hear it.
I don't...
Alright, none of your classes, mate. I do good fucking work. This steel you got in your hips, mate. The miners down the mines.
Oh, no, miners are hard-working individuals. I have nothing against the miners at all. I'm just glad Atlas isn't too familiar with miners. What were we saying?
I can't remember. Listen, you and Mercy, I gestured to Mercy quivering on the ground. We've clearly encountered something that is beyond what you're currently able to deal with in some way or another. And I think it's something to address after we kill Razor. Whatever has happened, we should endeavor to make it, or not contribute to it. And Razor still wants to kill a god.
Yes, I will ignore it. I will not spare a single thought to that green light.
Listen, Kazimir, you're terrible at lying.
Mm.
But at least save it until, one thing at a time. The person who chases two rabbits catches neither.
He's very, obviously looking in the distance at the green light dissipated off in, kind of peering, I wonder which way it went. Was it sentient? Yes, Atlas, as you say, let's focus on Razor.
Besides, Razor's sitting on a big pool of energy that I'm sure you're interested in.
Well, there's that as well. I'm spoiled for choice, I really am. Is Mercy's down right now, right?
No, Mercy's been healed up by Atlas.
I'm not dying, but I'm just I guess I'm not all there mentally.
Yes, one aberrant cataclysm at a time, I suppose.
I'll offer Mercy a hand to help them up.
Okay. I mean, they don't really get up. I mean, they sort of just lie there limply, just kind of shaking.
Look, cosmic dramas aside, we are on a clock. We have to fight Razor soon, and the others might be on their way now. We still can't lose to them. It is still important we don't lose to Malek's band of cronies, so... Wonderful although this has been. Somebody needs to carry Mercy. We can't sit here all day.
At that, Quan does go over to Mercy, heals Mercy for 15 points of healing, and says, I imagine the answer is probably no, but Mercy, you're worrying us. Speak to us more. Are you okay? Are you ready to stand up?
I think as you lean in, they're muttering crazy stuff to themselves. Right? Their eyes have gone completely grey white, no pupils, and they're just kind of muttering, going, "Oh, we walk through the shadows of destiny. We fly in the face of weave across an endless sky bound by nights and chains." And then I saw a green light at the bottom of the mountain, and I dug through the mountain, and then I swam through an endless sea of stars, and he was there, and he confronted me. Just absolutely insane babbling.
Mercy, can you hear me? Can you breathe? Can you stop talking for 2 seconds and just breathe? Does Mercy respond?
Quan, don't get too close, mate. You're gonna catch it. If you catch it, then he's
Sorry,
he's
is the rat in a can or something?
Yeah, you do sound kind of tinny today, Luke.
Wait, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you, but
I can't.
You sound tinny.
Yeah, it sounds
very-
weird for me as well, actually. Okay, I'm gonna do some science.
Arvis is now
I may have to
this
disappear.
big, and someone stuffed him in a can.
Okay. Alright, BRB, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Whoa.
Oh no, don't leave.
Oh no.
Oh no, who's in charge now?
Well, it's
Sai in
Sai.
charge. Alright.
Why
Wait,
is
who
it
am I?
always
Alright.
me?
I'm Arvis. No.
That's Florida.
You're all a bunch of fucking plagues. I'm gonna have to kill Kazimir. And Mercy.
Why are y'all coming for me? I'm stinky, I taste bad.
No, that's not what Jamie said.
Have an aftertaste.
Looking at you puts a bad taste in my mouth. That's not the same thing as tasting bad. It's not like I went over and licked you.
Well, the thing is, like, your tongue knows how everything tastes. If you look at something, you can imagine what it likes to lick it.
That's not true. I've been to so many restaurants where I think I know what it's going to taste like, and it fucking does not taste what I think it's going to taste like.
Fair.
I'm just trying to find something that I don't know what it tastes like in this room.
Or like feel like to lick it. Have.
I mean, your brain kind of supplies it, right? So you think you know what it tastes like, even if you don't know what it tastes like.
Don't look at the D20 like that. You know what that would. It'd be plastic.
I know what this would taste like.
You've licked enough D20s to know.
You probably don't know what, like, the floor of your shower tastes like.
Gross.
No,
Actually,
I feel like I would know.
Oh no, good. That's so gross.
No, but when you look at a surface, you kind of know, right?
Yeah, but it's like grotty and dirty.
Yeah,
like...
but the smell of, like, you know, baths have a smell, and showers have a smell, and taste is all that smell.
Jen, right, it's the texture. The taste you might get wrong, but you know what the texture of it feels like.
Yeah.
There's no way you can discern the texture of something from looking at it, and your tongue's like, yes, this is going to be springy.
Right. I'm DM back. What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm gonna lick the base of my shower tonight and prove me more wrong.
I feel like if you saw like a fluffy, like a sheep's wool coat or a pillow, you'd know that it would have the texture of fluffy.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize fluffy was a texture. Anyway,
it is.
Arvis, you were saying, if you're there. Arvis, you were not saying.
Yes, can you hear me okay now?
Much
friends?
better. That's
Oh,
him.
yeah.
Like
Way
infinitely better.
I can hear
What
you guys
happened?
much better. It's mutual, reciprocal
that's it.
audio
This is
relationship. I
that.
love it.
Oh, what was going on there?
Let's keep it
It is
simple.
him.
Okay, you are tuning into the After Hour, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody just chill back and relax.
If you put a voice modulator on or something.
Absolute ASMR.
All right, you were saying we all have the
All right.
plague.
Yeah, what he was saying to Quan was, all right, Quan, mate, you don't touch him, because if you touch him, then you use your rather soft, no criticism, but very powerful hands to heal him. It points at Pod, or him, or me, or him. Goes around, mate. It's how these things work. It's a theory. Nobody knows how a plague really gets around. But the suspicion is physical contact and bad deeds.
Yes, watch your soft and very powerful hands, Khan.
Well, I'm immune to disease, so I don't think it should be a problem. I don't.
Yeah,
quite
mate.
think-
I used to say that all the time.
I don't think touching Mercy's robe is particularly dangerous. I'll be honest, but I am not a doctor, so
A what?
do we have doctors in this world? I don't know. GP.
You have various clergy and men of learning and healers.
No, but like, what are people that like? What's the name for people that use like herbs and shit to heal people?
Apothecaries.
Mm-hmm.
Wisdom.
Herbal remedies.
Wisdoms.
Anyway,
Yeah, mate.
that.
We'll just be careful, mate. I've seen some good blokes go. I've seen some bad blokes go. You know, doesn't matter on the bloke. Just go.
Arvis, I think considering what has happened in the last 24 hours, I think there's enough reasoning as to why perhaps our friends might not be feeling so well. I think there's probably a relatively low risk of a plague starting here, I'll be honest. And if we do fall ill, then we have plenty of talented healers just in this group alone. to make us well again.
If we carry a plague, one strategy is to take it straight to Razor and infect her. I mean, who needs to weaponize...
The slow strategy.
Yes, who needs to weaponize intimacy when you can just sort of lick her and give her a disease? All
It's
fine.
a fantastic idea. Disease or not, I don't like poison razor.
Let's do it.
What do you mean, let's do it? This is insane. We're on lick
Guys,
razor.
no,
What are you talking
I'm not
about?
going to lick Razor. That was a colourful. That was colour, dramatic colour added to the explanation. The suggestion is we make her sick, we poison her, we do something.
Here's a better idea. We just kill her.
Oh, we'll do that too. Remember, we're
Do that
competing.
too.
We're competing with Malik. We need every insurance we can get.
So if
Or
killing her doesn't work,
incapacitate
she'll
her.
die of plague.
Why not all of the above? Really, let's take no chances.
In the time that we've been talking, has Mercy shown any signs of responding to anything? Is Mercy
Any
responsive?
improvements?
Do they have? Are they breathing?
I mean, they're continuing to babble. It's like the Dread Emperor watches over his bone throne over isles of coral.
You sound so cool.
I suppose if nothing has worked, I'll kind of shake Mercy a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of stops, but then they don't seem to. They just sort of loll in your hands, I guess.
Maybe slap them as
Um,
well, Quan.
All right. Well, I'm gonna princess carry Mercy then. If if Mercy's not showing any signs of moving, you brought this on yourself.
If
Yeah,
they're
fair
not
enough.
any better by the time we get to Mountain's Breath, maybe we just sort of leave them somewhere.
That
Tie them to a tree.
really would not. Really, Kazimir, leave them.
We can't take a babbling lunatic in to fight a barbarian.
Well, perhaps Mercy is just in shock.
Well,
They maybe just need a day to rest.
well, sure, but if they're still in shock when we fight Razor, they're getting left at the door. Their babbling will alert all the guards within a mile radius.
Mm.
And I'm sure
Well, we'll see.
a night out in the cold might be the counter shock Mercy needs to wake them back up. But let's see.
Mercy's a fast walker, mate. Once catch up, comes round.
True.
We've got a couple of days. Hopefully Mercy will be feeling more themselves, or maybe more someone else. I don't know.
Yes, who is themselves?
With Mercy, sort of just like, I guess, in my arms, do I notice anything off, like medically? Yeah, okay, I know that sounded weird in hindsight. I didn't mean it that way. Just, carrying Mercy, do I notice anything?
Mercy, what are you whispering?
Maybe
If you can
something.
think of any more.
Yeah. I've been making shit up. So like maybe Quan, depending on how hard he's listening, he picks up. Like the walk through worlds upon worlds, star traveler, sun follower, looking for redemption, regretful mistakes on the edge of a blade, death comes again, following a friend, friends in the forest, birds alight, looking for destiny. Destiny is the sea and storm. Sea and storm brings lightning upon a fateful wind. Friends and foes, culminating on the mountain's breath, mountain's edge, breath of dragons. Dragons, they come. Like continuing.
Yeah. Mercy physically is still fairly rattled. Like you can sense that 2 hits like that, Mercy is weak. There's nothing wrong in the sense that like it's not going to heal, but Mercy's mind is in pure instinct mode, jumping from connection to connection.
Okay, got it.
Before we leave, Quan, do you want to go to the temple? I assume you'll be allowed in now. Maybe you want to stick it to the spiteful old man who denied your entry.
I certainly could. I suppose I should probably pay my respects to Tyr before we leave.
Walking away, presumably making your way to the temple.
Downtown.
Quan, there's a moment where you wince as you begin to take the step in, but this time there's no throwback, there's no force, and you are allowed in to the temple. And you hear, as you approach, Father Eldraine is off in the distance, cooking. You can hear kind of a humming. It doesn't seem to have noticed, slightly deaf, that you've all arrived. So if you wish to alert him, you can. Otherwise, you are standing in this building, this temple to Tyr.
I will just offer my thanks to Tyr, very privately and quietly in the corner, next to any icon or anything that I feel like is a good spot.
Tyr will. I'm going to send you the stats of the sword you currently hold, and that's going to be what you get out of this interaction. This comes with the proviso that there is a oath assigned to this sword, and it will not continue if you take actions to the contrary with the oath you have sworn.
Remain virginal.
Protect your virtue.
That is the one thing that you have to do. There's nothing
Protect
else.
your own virtue. The virtue of the men and women around
At all
you.
costs. I guess Pod would be like looking at the amulet that he's just randomly gained and be like, does anyone have any idea what this is?
No, where the fuck did that come
Amulet.
from?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I wasn't wearing it beforehand.
You sure? I thought you were.
Pod is a surprisingly wise individual. I guess he would have maybe inferred
He wasn't.
that
I have
with-
perfect memory.
that it was potentially a gift. So it would say something along the lines of, maybe it's like the sword and it's a gift from Tyr. I hope Kellenvor isn't upset.
Well, we can't have done too bad a thing of Tears giving you guys gifts.
Kind of pauses and thinks. He goes, "That's a good point."
Question, DM. How much of the blessings do I know? Like, how much of this do I understand of the item?
All of it. You know how to activate it in all its various ways.
No. Okay, like,
Okay.
aside from it being a tool to use, do I know, like, where it's come from and what powers it?
Yes. You know
Oh,
that
okay.
this is, you feel somewhere in your heart that this, whilst Tyr is permitting this, it's not from Tyr.
Okay, gotcha.
Nanny?
Ooh.
That's a lot.
And there's something warmly comforting about holding this blade, even though it can't ignite memories lost. Eski, I'm going to send you the details about the amulet.
Mm-hmm.
If the old man hasn't noticed that Quan is standing in the temple, Kazimir's going to loudly clear his throat and ask Quan pointedly how he's finding the inside of the temple. How warm it is.
Quan is ignoring Kazimir. He's just kneeling, like, muttering in prayer.
Oh! Oh, by Tyr's truth be done. I am glad you have mended your rift. welcome back to the enlightened path.
Thanks to you,
From
old
there.
man.
Of course not. Why would I need to be needed in anything? It is important self-determination. One finds their own path.
Yes, shirk responsibility. Your order's quite good at that.
It is important one is allowed free will, so that one can be fairly judged for their actions.
Does that make sense?
Or if one...
Does that really make sense?
Yes, if one does not have the freedom of choice, how can they bear the guilt of responsibility?
And what about bearing the weight of your random insults you were throwing about yesterday? Goodness. The stew was nice, though.
I've had better.
Me too.
As Quan finishes his prayer, he kind of stands up and put his hand on Kazimir's shoulder and says, "That's enough." But there's a soft smile. Like, he clearly appreciates that Kazimir is getting spicy on his behalf.
I think you all probably have noticed a pattern that Kazimir has a bit of a he's pretty rude to you guys, but he will not let anyone else be rude to you guys. He's very quick to jump in and make sure he's even ruder back to whoever's daring come for you guys.
It is important that one does the best they have with the information available. I am glad to have been proved wrong in this instance. May you all use the information you have most wisely, and for the good of others.
I hate you people. He's gonna narrow his eyes and look as though he's ready to leave. Whenever Quan is ready.
This man looks like he's ready to begin a sermon on justice. At which point, I imagine everybody except for Pod walks out.
Yeah, Pod stays in. He's
And
almost
that's
slightly
why
enthralled.
it's so important justice is upheld. Otherwise, it's just standing there. So, Pod, do you keep that amulet?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he wouldn't feel any sort of negative influence from it. In fact, I assume it would probably feel quite warm and nice. So I guess, I don't know. Yeah, he probably does. Considers it a form of a gift. It doesn't give any sort of. He would use kind of detect magic on it and the like to just feel it over and get an idea of if this thing means bad news or not. And he doesn't get bad vibes. So he just, he does keep it.
Feel free. I know size okay at the moment, but both Quan and Pod feel free to share the details of those items with the group. Should you feel free? Should you feel fit to do so? However, the rest of you, is there anything else you want to accomplish in the village before you push on to Razor? The village, I say, the ruined village.
The one
resident.
Church.
Kazimir looks like he's thirsting to leave and is muttering about how much time we've lost, and Malik's probably cracking the whip on the others.
So, you've already run these survival rolls. So, I will say that you continue your journey. I remember this one being a particularly good survival roll, so you make good time. You're probably no more than... You think you'd get there the next day's evening at the end of Mountain's Breath. So you make one final camp before going in. You examine the map on Roll20 that Naliska has given you. You are more than welcome to go and scout around, look around the area beforehand before making your advance. The Whispering Cleft is the most nearby visible kind of audience point, observable point, but it is a well-known area to see this natural phenomenon. You imagine Razor is watching it. Atlas, you know of several other spots through which the valley, the area can be observed, hopefully hidden. I will require stealth checks. And you know that this is possibly, given that this is maybe where Razor has fled to, one of the more fortified positions. You also know you are merely a day's walk away from where Razor has set up her base, which means there are potential for ambushes, bandits, maybe allies, depending on Mercy, who you brought. Mercy, would there be any point? How long does Mercy take to overcome this, or even by the evening, do you think Mercy is still shocked?
Yeah, so if I was just thinking maybe I'd just do the like regain consciousness thing of like a D4 hours. So like 2 hours in, I guess they like the like mutterings gradually slow. You know, they've said some like an innumerable amount of crazy stuff, which makes no sense. Which I, you know, could share if it needs be, but otherwise, and I guess after like a couple of hours, they sort of tail off in the like crazy mutterings, and basically they go to sleep in Kwan's arms. And after that period, they kind of like jolt awake, just sort of suddenly, kind of like look up at Kwan.
Are you? Well, we've made camp. We're very close to Razor. You were not really with it for a while. Are you feeling okay, Mercy?
Your name is Kwan?
Yes. Do you know the date? What year is it? How many fingers am I holding up?
Do you have the sword?
This one, and he points to where the sword is laying next to them.
Then we are not lost. There is still a chance.
Mercy, you're not making any sense.
Is Pod alive?
Pod is very much alive as far, and he suddenly looks really concerned and looks over to where Pod is. He kind of squints, trying to make sure that Pod is breathing if he's not making any visible signs of talking or laughing or anything.
Then this is where we live. For now. Okay. You have the sword.
No, Mercy, we're not planning to live in this campsite. This is a temporary accommodation.
No. This is where we are all alive. And stay that way. Okay.
Why don't you talk to me? I'm sorry, I'm not following.
You don't. Not for a while, anyway. It's been a long time. You won't understand for many months. But you carried me. Thank you.
It was nothing. You barely weigh a thing.
Okay. The date. I don't know the date. How many days have passed?
1, right, Jimmy? Or 2?
Yeah, it's the evening of the day, so not even 1.
Well, it's the same day. It's just evening.
And the giant. Did we meet the giant?
No.
No.
No. Okay.
Then we have time. Okay.
I don't know. I just thought maybe I'd like zoned out really hard at some point, and we met a giant, and I didn't realize.
I mean, you did meet a giant.
I mean,
You
no, we
did
met a
in
giant.
Razor's camp.
Don't you
Yeah, it just
remember?
didn't like
Last
not
week?
recently. Yeah, like Razor's camp, you met a giant. If you kind of.
We met a giant last week.
Yeah, that was ages ago.
No, that was
It
last
was
time.
ages ago.
My memory doesn't stretch that far back.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mercy just like, I mean, they kind of just sit down and they say, then you were going to make some stew? Oh, we would very much like some stew. If you wouldn't mind.
Of course, and his eyes narrow. He's still looking worriedly at Mercy, but goes to start preparing food. Wait. Can I? Shit, my character sheet isn't finished. Fuck. What level do I? Seeing as we are about to go to bed, Quan is going to create food and water and conjure up a bland
actual
but
paladin spell.
nourishing meal, which he is then going to season so that it's not bland.
You all are eating a bland but well seasoned and nourishing meal.
It's kind of contradictory, no?
It's seasoned. Quan's touched it. Quan knows what he's doing, right?
I use lay
Wait,
on
is
hands
this
on
just
the
a meal,
street.
or is it like a specific food stuff? Like, what's the
you,
vibe?
you heal the food. So it's no longer bland.
I'm just trying to use all the abilities now that I have spells again in one go.
That's good.
And also I haven't prepared any spells, so technically I'm just being cheeky. But anyway, yes, it's a stew. I guess fairly tough meat stew, but with corn seasonings, it's not too hard to enjoy a little bit.
Yeah, Mercy ravenously devours much of it, and like nods, and I guess maybe continues to say like more coherent but equally weird stuff.
DM Sai, go.
Who
Who did we lose?
Oh,
Matt.
But
Yarmo's staring into the void,
oof.
but all is well.
And I guess like fairly soon after they sort of face kind of polyjuice potion bubbles and they take on the face of Atropos the human.
Juan is like very intently watching Kazimir and Mercy, and like to the point he's barely touched his own food, but as soon as either of their bowls starts to get low, he's immediately like dishing more food to them. But still avoiding eye contact with Kazimir.
I think if Quan is watching Kazimir is watching Mercy. Like it's like a triangle of like staring at each other, kind of. So okay, we did lose Spanner. I'll just keep talking, whatever. But I think he's really quietly watching Mercy, and he doesn't say anything, but maybe very quietly at some point in the meal he says, "No, the weave is quite literal, isn't it?"
Hmm? Oh.
Your threads and knots and things. I see why you believe what you believe.
Yes. Kazimir, yes. Montague. You called yourself Montague. Yes. Montague, your friend. Searching, you're in trouble. You came from Sacramar. Okay. The weave is real. Yeah. More than I'm sure you wished it were right now, given what you saw, but you do not see them like your mind has been shattered, and so that speaks well of you.
No, I'm quite angry, actually. I thought I was supposed to be an aberrant, with no destiny, no threads, but quite clearly some were tied to me, Mercy. Saw that much. Don't
And I
like
saw things too.
the idea that I'm pulled towards a direction, towards anything. I don't want that. Why would anyone want that?
It's comforting to know that there is a plan, a purpose to your life, and you're part of a greater whole.
No, it's
Safety.
not. It's not comforting at all. I want the man of my life to be my own, not Savras's. Not some grey, miserable-looking tapestry. But
Not
I saw what
not all things are within our control.
They can be. Anyway, I saw what you see. I get it, I think. I don't necessarily think it's the providing force that shapes the world, but I understand why you think what you think.
Did you see what was released?
Green light
I
would have struck it.
think back on it. I saw only pain, screams and laughter.
It was powerful, whatever that was.
And he
Whatever
looks
it's
back at
called.
Quan. This man has a story, a significance.
Oh, Quan, I'm glad you're on our side.
I wouldn't presume to know what significance you're talking about, Mercy, but and he just looks really confused, like, and a little bit embarrassed. Like, aside from feeling stronger and less tired, he doesn't feel too different. So it feels a little bit like Mercy is treating him like almost like a different person, and it makes Quan uncomfortable.
For now, Quan, let your significance be that if Malik was in trouble before, he's really in trouble now. Imagine his face when you start smiting things. It's going to be great.
Well, I wouldn't presume to smite Malik unless he gives us a good reason to, yes, that would be rather impolite.
Something
Guy.
inside you, Quan. Malik deserves smiting.
Guide us with your soft and powerful hands, O Paladin. Kazimir's just gonna reach across and just give him a pat on the arm.
I will do my best.
I'm trying to think of, like, is Quan still trying not to avoid eye contact?
Yeah, he's definitely kind of, like, looking at Kazimir from time to time, but not his face. It's really awkward. Like, you can tell he's trying not to be obvious, but I would imagine Kazimir is someone very acutely aware of who is looking at him and how people interact and who makes eye contact with him and so on.
So he has
And I think
exceptionally low insight, which I think means he's going to read it as somebody not looking at his face probably means they feel a bit shy, and that tends to happen when they're really overwhelmed by how he looks. So I think he'll smile knowingly as he pats Quan on the side. Sort of repeat the, I'm so glad you're with us.
Quan swallows back the bile that comes up to his mouth.
You okay there, Quan? It looks like you just threw up in your mouth.
You don't know that.
Okay. We have some stuff to cover, so I will give them the time. And I know people have food and stuff, so we'll take a break. We'll be back at 9, and we'll keep playing a little later than we did last week. So, things to think about over the break. If Eski and Si want to share the details of their stuff, they don't have to, but if they do, everyone else, you're going into battle with Razor. What are the plans, if there are any? Are you just going to headlong in? What do you want to know? What do you want to see? And anything else? Otherwise, catch you guys in 14 minutes.
14 minutes. All right. Bye.
Wow.
Yeah, hello.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're a totally normal D&D group who weren't talking about anything weird during the break. And to D&D Boyband, you have spent past time dealing with the revelations, the issues, the brain-breaking of the last session. You have traveled closer to Razor's encampment, and you are now making your final camp, getting ready to face Razor, whatever remains of the Ivory Forsaken.
What is that noise, DM?
Sorry, Jess is hammering in the background. We now own our flat, so we're breaking it. It sounds fun.
Possibly.
I think
close
that's
the
pretty
door.
understandable. not
Sorry,
gonna
Jess,
lie.
can you shut the door? Okay, she's finished now. Good. We're putting up pictures. So, D&D Boyband, other than going to bed and sleeping, what are you all doing?
I will cast Locate Object on the little token I slipped into Naliska's clothing to see if he's within 1,000 feet of us.
He is not within 1,000 feet of you.
Okay, cool. I'll tell everyone that I think we're good in regards to Malik getting ahead of us. I hid that token on Naliska, and they said they were bringing him. So unless the plans change, we might be in the clear.
Good, we should keep an eye out for Razor's forces.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Maybe we observe the area beforehand. Maybe we send a party ahead to look tonight, or find an easier way up into Mountain's Breath that's less guarded, darker shadows, that kind of thing.
Mercy, we are about to be on day 13 once the night ticks over.
Oh, amazing. Okay.
I suppose it begs the question, would we want to meet up with Malik and sort of work together once again with them? Or is it us versus them? Given how it went last time. Did we
They're
feel-
unreliable, right?
Yeah, but do we need every little bit of it?
Nah, we'd win.
How dare you?
It's perhaps something that I could consider over the evening tonight.
That's a good idea. I can't believe I'm saying this. Yes, do consult the wave.
Well, if we do want to team up with them, how do we contact them? I'm all in favor of resources to kill Razor, but realistically speaking, where are they?
We have one sending scroll remaining. Wait. I can call message, can't I? Can I just cast mission? I think there's a spell range on it. 120 feet. But we know roughly where they'll be coming from. We could watch for their approach and I could contact. We'd have to be fairly close. But Alara, we do have that sending scroll, don't we?
Yes, we do.
You're very quiet today, Alara. What do you have to say about Quan's newfound glowing new look?
Lara blushes. It's very impressive.
Do just.
I'm glad he's found himself a bit more. And while his memories haven't come back, I'm sure he never betrayed his ideals.
Very in character of you, Jamie.
Yeah.
Mercy is sorry, Mercy. Ilara is very tongue-tied in front of Quan for no reason. Who could imagine why?
Because he's a
Perhaps she
fucking
also
babe.
gets a bad taste in her mouth when she looks at me.
That must
Quite
be
the
it.
opposite.
Yes, he is. He's quite the specimen.
Is that all of us?
Yeah, that's him, bruv.
Like the hot topic.
No, wasn't there like an American goth emo clothing store called Hot Topic?
There was.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, of course. It's famous.
Mm.
When Quan was a young
Damn
boy.
it.
I feel like I'm the Hot Topic employee of this campaign.
You absolutely are.
Yeah.
Like, not even a doubt.
Everyone could see Kazimir wearing those shitty neon black and neon striped arm warmers.
Oh god.
Oh god.
Fun
Like,
hole.
men in thigh highs is the D&D equivalent of like
Hot Topic.
being someone that shops at Hot Topic.
Spiky chokers.
My god.
Mm.
Speaking of spiky chokers, Mercy will go over to Kazimir, and kind of sit down next to them. Probably later on when when not gathered around the fire, but maybe as they're packing up for bed, or I don't know, throwing firebolts at a tree, or whatever they are.
Late
Evening
in the
preparation.
Late in the evening,
Yeah.
he kind of reads through his spell book, and he just seems to recursively reiterate on the same spells that he casts. And you recognize him as spells other mages cast, but he's just trying to add his own flair to it, like add cool green sparks or make it look more necromancery, or like you just get the sense he's just trying to add flair all evening. And he's doing it again and again, and like doing parts of the spell until it looks really fucking cool. He just sits doing that.
So he goes over and I hope I'm not interrupting anything.
No, just my normal studies. How can I help?
Well, I was actually seeing if you needed some help. I was making sure that you are okay.
You're asking me if I'm okay? Me, the abomination. I appreciate it, Mercy, I do. I suppose what I can say is, honestly, I'm always fine. I have no choice but to be fine. Cannot be anything else. So I am absolutely in a well state of mind and prepared for whatever's to come.
I sense that this is a veneer, a defense mechanism perhaps, which you don't need to put up with me. If you are feeling shaken, if you've experienced visions, disturbances in what you see, echoing voices, this is normal when one first begins to see the world beyond. You seem to have come away from the experience with little to no harm, which is no doubt because of your incredible intellect.
I will chalk a lot of things up to my superior intellect, but this one I think I can attribute to... Let's just say this has nothing on the day that I picked up Mateus and my necromancy. I've been through encounters with forces which have left me changed, and this does not feel so bad as that did. So, I appreciate your concern, I suppose. Been there, done that.
And that is why you're fine, because it's not as bad as this day you were changed.
No, I'm fine, because if I'm not, I don't stand a chance at killing the High Praetor of Sacramar. If something like this bothers me, I'll never get it done. I just simply won't be good enough. So I'm fine.
Do you think that being fine is a necessity of killing the High Praetor of Sacramore?
No, to be fair, I think I probably could snap, lose it, and torch a few towns on the way and do it fairly not sound of mine, but I think I will be increasing my chances of success if I make it to him one mental piece, as it were.
And what would you look like on the other side of your ambitions? Continue to be fine, or once you have permission to be something else? What would that look like?
On the other side of my ambitions, Mercy, I'm like... It starts to be a maybe slightly nasty smile, but I think he kind of just sighs into it and says, I'm going to be safe. So, I suppose then I won't need to pretend anymore, will I? And he looks quite peaceful with that thought. Like, he looks kind of genuinely quite at rest with the idea that doing this might actually be a very good thing for his future.
Maybe, just maybe, you could be safe and not kill the High Praetor. There might be another way, another road, as it were,
There might
to find
be,
that
but
you.
this does solve a lot of... And look, he's not a good person. When we're done with Fraser, I'll tell you the whole story. Forgive me for being cagey about it, it's only quite a lot. And, you know, yesterday you were spitting at my feet and telling me I didn't deserve to be alive, so trusting you, or trusting anyone here with that information, is a tall order.
I understand. But it's not you that I despise. It's what you represent in the context of what you saw today.
And when you speak to me, Mercy, are you thinking of who I am or what I am?
Who you are is largely immaterial. It's what you could do.
There we have it. I think so long as who I am is actually not so important to you. We're at a bit of an impasse, aren't we?
How so?
Well, I mean, I could be Kwan and I could be kindly making soup for everyone, and that wouldn't make any difference to how you view me, would it? I'd still be an aberrant, I'd still be the source of all the problems you're sent to observe. Equally, if I was worse than I am, and I was setting fire to homes on our jaunt through the Stormlands, would that make any difference? I suppose I would still just be an aberrant, no? I could tell you all the sadness in my past, and would it matter? I think not.
It might not matter to me, to us, but it might matter to you. And it might matter to others. And therefore it might matter.
I don't need people to think of me as a good person. I don't really care what people think of me, to be honest. I care that they think I'm strong, and that's all that matters, really. Getting things done is all that matters.
I understand.
But, despite all this, you came to check to see if I, the person, am okay. So maybe when you say who I am is immaterial, that might not quite be the truth you believe. Entirely anyway.
You're extremely important because
I know.
you seem to. Now, I don't quite understand why, but you seem to be linked. And I can't explain that. But so long as you are, your choices matter.
I have a question for you. Who are you as a person?
Well, we are no one.
Does that bother you?
Feel like you should. Can you? I don't know, some sort of persuasion roll, maybe, or like an honesty roll.
Okay. All right. Which dice should we roll? Should we roll the big one or the shiny one? Oh, it's a natural 19. 21.
Yeah, I got a 6. So I guess like the face kind of falls for a second, and the Atropos kind of looks sad. Sometimes I used to watch, just think and imagine myself living their lives. A walk, smile, standing in the rain.
What's
But
stopping
it's
you?
this is what I am, and they exist within me now, and I exist outside.
When you say
that
they,
which-
you mean the faces you're wearing, or Atropos? You watched them and then became them. Did you become them because you wanted to be them? Why are you these people?
I killed them.
Ah,
Some of them were aberrants like you. Some of them were just destined to die.
I see. And yet you envied them that they could stand in the rain and bake bread and go about their day.
That you can want things, feel scared, and now they are remembered. Their tapestry kept by we. Without them, though, I'm nothing.
You're still a person, though. You're still Mercy. You're still the entity that made the decision to kill those people, who still wanted something. You wanted, upon occasion, to be them. You had a desire. You're not devoid of them, not entirely. Just an observation. You've been through enough today.
Maybe you're right.
Eat more of Kwan's stew.
I'm going to bed.
And finding that stew makes me feel better about a lot of things at the moment.
Atlas. Slightly separate from the group. Meditating. You look over at the very tip of the mountain range. You know begins the stretch of Mountain's Breath. Your mind at this point probably goes to those you've lost. Goloreth, Hith, Roldar. that those you pray and hope are still alive. Thari, Siriel, Demian. What are you thinking on this, the eve of hopefully freeing some of your people?
I suppose my main thoughts are, if everyone's been taken to Mountain Breath, mostly wishing for their safety and trying to mostly manifest grabbing onto Razor and just kind of like ripping the bottom half of her jaw away from the top half of her head, or various other horrific ways in which I could kill her for doing what she did to my people and my family. Probably kind of fueled on by that kind of distant dragon roar in the back of my head. And so I'll probably just like let it run through me and crackle with lightning for a bit before turning back to thoughts of my family and what's happened this day, and maybe if there's any way I can kind of channel my connection, I'll try and look to Bahamut for a small amount of guidance.
Roll a percentage dice for me.
Yeah. 73.
I'm saying high is good, right, in general?
Yeah.
Okay. You've seen Talos. You've wounded Talos in this time. Wounded, perhaps a strong word. You've dealt damage to Talos. And whilst you know you were deep down, you know you were running towards your own end for the sake of others. At this moment, hopefully, upon the edge of victory, of finality, of whatever it means, you feel that there's something beneath you, something in this earth that could help. And if you only were to dig down, you could claim it.
Oh. I'll put my hands in the earth and start, digging down underneath where I sit.
Okay. After some time of digging, sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, and while I did it, I was kind of I would probably, after the anger and the concern has faded, kind of then anger for Razor, concern for my family, turn to myself and actually, will I still be around after what I've done, what I bargained to do? Will I disappear? Will I still be here? But I'll just kind of keep those thoughts in my head as I dig.
And as you kind of dig, at one point your hand scratches and you cut yourself on the edge of something. And as you reach in and you pull it out, you pull out a great axe forged with shimmering platinum-like alloy. As you look around, you grab it out. Each of the blades is etched with an intricate design, dragons in mid-flight. The hilt, however, and the whole thing is almost ethereal, almost like it's not quite real, but you can grip it. You don't know if you'd be able to give it to somebody else. And I'll send you the stats of the weapon you can use in the upcoming fight.
Wow.
Thank you. And I will kind of fix. I'll give something back. I'll put my I'll take my greatsword off my back and I'll put it back into the earth. It's kind of a trade that I'm getting the better end of. And I'll probably go back towards the group and maybe go over and talk to Pod. Actually, Pod, evening.
Evening.
I just wanted to talk with you. Really, I was wondering if, I'm kind of lost for words a little bit of what you did for Quan, your ability and your connection with your gods. How did you come into Kelenvor's service? I'm curious to know.
Well, you see, it's a long story. Which immediately, I guess you probably the only member of the party where that doesn't immediately fill you with dread upon hearing that, because you're just not aware of his general temperament because we've been in combat most of the time. But Pod would begin to kind of like, and while he's talking, he'd be turning the kind of holding the amulet, almost like turning it over in his fingers as he's like regaling the tale of how he used to, be a bit of an outcast in his own homeland, and he spent more time in the equivalent of the graveyard, or the Furbolg graveyard, which is more just kind of like a, I forget what. For some reason, I'm blanking on the name of the words. What are they called? Barrows? Yeah, barrows. Yeah. That's it. They're more like barrows than they are graves, and he would just spend time there, and he always felt like he had a natural affinity to be able to kind of see spirits, and he learned to talk to them over time. And in doing so, he kind of saw a god which would make sense of everything that he understood, or that the kind of a random affinity that he happened to have. And Kelenvor was the one that answered him. Not directly, like he's never directly spoken to him. It's more of a kind of a feeling, but he just, it's just the one god that always called out to him, and he studied it more and more and more, and before he knew it, he was a devout cleric of Kelenvor. He's never been to a church of Kelenvor. He hasn't spoken to many other people. He never trained in a monastery or anything like that. He just found the god by himself, and now reads about him all the time. And you can see in his little sketchbook, he shows you that he's got notes and everything about his god and about history of things that he's found in various libraries and word of mouth tales that he's heard in various taverns when he asked about it for anyone that could be bothered to talk to him.
Well, they say
and
make your hobby your job.
he kind of looks he looks like he's telling a story, kind of Deckard Cain-esque, but he looks very animated while talking about it. And in doing so, he goes, he kind of pauses and he's looking at the amulet. He goes, I've been communing about this amulet, and I don't know much of the other gods of the dead, but I just know one thing about this thing. It's, well, a bit of a pun, really. It's imagine a bane of bane. It's an amulet that seems to just reject bane in all aspects.
You have no
It's
idea.
like
Who Bane is. It
anti-tyranny.
doesn't exist in this world.
Oh shit! Retcon that. I just assumed he did, man.
Famous
that's exactly
guy
what-
called Bane.
That's exactly what it is, but you have no idea about who Bane is.
All right.
It's
Retcon that.
it's an amulet that rejects all form of tyranny.
It rejects all form of tyranny and almost whispers a name that doesn't make any sense. One that has never been heard of. One that never.
That's crazy.
It's like a foreign tongue. It is a word that is a verb, but it's said as if it's almost a
I
noun,
think
and it
there's a
just
spell.
doesn't make sense.
There's a spell named after him, I think.
Oh, maybe, but either way, it seems to be just an amulet of almost anti-tyranny, of anti-blatant authoritarianism. It's
Oh wait, sorry, I forgot to add the civil service.
Do you hear the people saying
So-
amulet?
So, yeah, he begins to kind of describe how it feels. He almost drifts off from the original question and begins discussing how this amulet feels and how it doesn't feel like anything he's really encountered before. It doesn't feel evil. It feels almost as if it's very good, but as if it's built for a purpose, and a purpose that he doesn't quite understand. As if it calls for something that doesn't exist. It's just perplexing. You can't make sense of it.
Bizarre. Wow.
Anyway, sorry, what was your original question? I apologize. I've been a little bit
I
taken
can't
up by
remember.
this thing. And he stares at
Right.
it almost like Gollum looking at the ring, but not that flavoring, I guess.
I'm sure it has some sort of purpose. It will reveal itself to you eventually.
But yeah, I mean, well, to answer your question originally, I guess I don't know. I've always been able to dispel evil and, stop the bad dead and all those kinds of things. And, well, curses, they are somewhat a perversion of nature, I guess. And to remove them is to just cleanse the soul. And that's all I know. I don't really know the specifics of it. I just know that there are ways to do it. But that one was weird. It was never... I've dealt with small curses before in the past. I've almost, helped the odd person with the occasional hex cast on them by someone that didn't like them, I guess. But this one was... It was vicious. It was deep. It was... like it was anchored into the soul. I've never experienced anything quite like it. I'm amazed I even managed to do anything with it. Well, the first couple of times I tried, it felt almost hopeless.
Well, I guess persistence is the key in this situation.
But I can't help but feel that it wasn't all me. Like, I didn't do anything different the last few times I tried, and it kind of just worked. I didn't change anything. It was almost like it kind of wanted to go in the last attempt. I can't claim full credit for it, because I don't really understand what happened.
Modesty aside, Pod, Quan seems in a much better mood this afternoon and evening than they did yesterday. So, you've done a good thing for a good person, and they'll continue. That will spread more good in this world.
I appreciate that. For an abomination, you're quite friendly.
Everyone calling each other
No,
abominations in this camp.
It's rude. So rude.
I know what I am.
I don't mean that in,
You're an
a
abomination.
horrible way. I just mean as in, your existence is unnatural, which is not your fault in the slightest. You didn't choose this life.
I know what I am, and you're right. This body, I'll kind of look at it, run my hands over and reveal where it's restitched and severed body parts have kind of come back together. I don't even know what to think of it anymore. It doesn't feel like me. It feels
generally I
on purpose.
tag along with people because, well, they're interesting for the most part. I don't exactly seek out combat or trying to fight anyone, but Raz is probably the first, well, he kind of gestures to you. The first thing that's really ever hit a nerve, I guess. I've never really felt like I was particularly invested in anything like this before. But you are truly awful, but not as a personality, just as a, as a thing.
I guess
You're
I
not
am,
awful. You're very lovely, but your soul is lovely, but your body and everything is corrupted and twisted in a way that I barely recognize. He says, almost with a completely straight face, the whole time, looking at you. A bit Kazimir's friend, I guess. I don't know what else to call him, to be honest. Friend, butler, guardian.
I don't think friend is the right word here.
Yeah, they don't seem to get along. I don't know the details of it. He won't tell me, but
Last time we heard from him, he was begging for death again. So,
well, that's not particularly unusual for anything that's undead. Generally, they don't particularly like that predicament. So, I wouldn't say that that's particularly exceptional as a behavior. What is exceptional, though, is that he won't die. That is quite exceptional.
Well, I won't die either, but I don't know the difference between the divine force bringing me back and the force bringing the shadowman back that Kazimir controls. But Pod, I did want to ask you. I think I will probably be gone once Razor's dead.
Well, we can hope.
We can. I'm gonna just pass you a small piece of paper with some names, and I'll send you the names and like vague descriptions of a few people. If I am gone, my family, they were taken by Razor. I would want someone, maybe just to make sure they're okay.
He almost has like a surprisingly grave expression on his face that doesn't look characteristic. And he looks at you with a almost severe seriousness. He realizes the gravity of potential fates of these names and individuals. I will make sure that they are okay, that they are passed on, if that is what has become of them.
Even if I was able to see them, I don't think I'd want them to see me.
He kind of pauses in a moment. He goes, I wouldn't necessarily be so sure of that. While you have, you belong on the other side. People do grieve, and they probably would want to see you. They probably shouldn't, but they would want to.
I guess I don't have too much of a say over it, so if I'm still around, then I'll go from there. But I don't plan to be.
And if you don't, I'll make sure that, that they know.
Thank you.
He kind of flashes a warm smile and nods at you in a comforting way.
I'm going to do a quick survey of the area near us. Make sure we're not being crept up on.
I should probably head to sleep. I've been awake for quite some time. And this whole, curse business, it takes a lot out of me.
Everyone done?
Yeah.
Atlas? Ilara finishes her soup and kind of, as you're all kind of beginning to go, and goes, I know we've been through a lot, but I feel that we're really close to what we set out to achieve, and I just want to say I'm proud of all of us. We're stronger this time. We can do it.
Of course we can. Why are you pontificating?
Motivational speech before we go in is what we need, right?
Right, Elara. Encouraging words.
Thank you, Juan.
This could be your last night, so if there's anything you want to get off your chest and maybe get out into the open, now's the time. He kind of slides his eyes from Elara to Quan with a smirk on his face. And then
Elara
Quan
looks at
and
What?
Indeed. What Kazimir says is true. In many futures of tomorrow, one or both of you are killed horrifically.
Well, good night then. and always half runs, jogs to her tent.
Kazimir just looks at Quan and says, "You could always follow her, unless that's not what you're after." And he just like looks at Quan for a second.
Follow her where? She's only going to her tent. She's not far.
Well, she was obviously after something more, Quan. Or is that against your oath now?
Well,
wasn't
I
really
can't
listening.
imagine what. I mean, we're on the eve of battle with Razor, and that's entirely what she set out to do.
It's normally on the eve of battle people have sex. If they have regrets or so wish to.
Well, I shouldn't presume to think about what Ilara does in her spare time. It's rather not our business.
The point is, Quan, she wants it to be your business, quite palpably.
Well, I'm not interested in such interests. If she has someone that she wishes to share that with, then they can do it themselves.
No, of course. You're not thinking about that at all.
So who are you having sex with, Kazimir, then, if people have sex the night before battle?
Oh, no one. I don't have those needs, particularly. I only do it if it's useful.
Fair enough.
Okay, well, good night. And goes back to
As you all drift off to the most awkward sleep I think I ever fucking heard of. All of your minds go to what matters most. Some of you, the Order, Savras, your family, brother that was lost. What remains, what you're hoping to escape to, Arvis, what you get out of this if you win. Who's on watch?
I will be.
Surely the
keeping
Revenant
eye.
that never sleeps.
Yeah, the Revenant that never sleeps. Mercy.
If people want to stay up with me, I'll be grateful for the company.
I'll stay
I
up.
guess
you know,
Pod,
I-
like, canonically could have stayed up for a while. Like, hence when they were during the time they were talking, we could say that they were chatting
Maybe-
while on watch.
Ilara does
Yeah.
not reappear.
So not fair to say that I'm technically on watch, but I'll be up, like meditating and trying to read the weave, and maybe I'll send you a question. But
Yep, you cannot send me a question, that's fine. So Pod and Atlas will take first watch. Kazimir. As you drift off to sleep,
Mm.
You done fucked up.
Mhm.
you have a visitor in your dreams.
Right?
On a wide open plain. It's a chamber. A strange chamber. One you don't recognize. There are symbols of a black gauntleted hand with green flame surrounding. There are onlookers. You recognize Quan. There's a wizard or sorcerer there. You're unsure. A couple of other individuals, none of which you recognize, but you are standing in a circle, a dueling circle. You recognize that at least. And in front of you stands a figure. Head to toe, black metal armor, carrying a mace. Forged of black metal, the end of which is a singular hand. And in this moment, you feel an overbearing presence. A force pushing down on your very being, upon your will. The weapon drops to the floor. This figure kicks it over to you. Pick it up.
Okay, I don't recognize this figure at all. How tall are they?
No.
How big are they? How...
That's 7 foot.
Are they hot?
You have no idea. They're
Oh.
hidden behind too much armor.
Overwhelming presence. I think he will in this moment be a good bitch and bend down and pick up this weapon, and he'll sort of say, "Ooh, What are you? A power, an entity? He's gonna look around. He doesn't recognize the people at all. Just Quan.
Except for Quan and Naliska. Now you look. Both are here. And then, strangely, for a single second, the figure in front of you shimmers, and you see Fazul's face.
If this is a prank, this isn't a very good one.
Did you roll initiative for me?
What?
Uh-huh.
Oh boy.
What? Oh god.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, that's a 10.
Okay, you go
11.
first.
11, sorry, my maths.
Suddenly, that figure, threatening, violence. You feel the need to defend yourself. What do you do as you hold this weapon in your hand?
How big is this dueling circle? How close am I to them?
20 feet.
20 feet. Okay, I'm just gonna throw a fireball at them straight up. Yeah, I think he gets the sense this doesn't feel good. So that's a dex saving throw.
Dex saving throw? Sure. That's 25.
Yeah, succeeds. So take half
Succeeds.
off 34 points of damage.
Okay, 34 points of damage. Yeah, 17. As you throw it forward, it kind of ignites the chamber around you. You see the stones ignite. You recognize another figure. Captain Bran of Freedhome. Standing, watching this contest.
Fuck. I'm gonna try back off as... No, I'm holding a weapon, but... Does it feel heavy in his hands? Like...
No, it feels light. It feels like the most natural weapon you've ever gripped.
And maybe he's gonna look down at it, and for a second wonder if maybe he should have just tried to hit with it. But it's not his natural inclination, so he's gonna back off maybe like 15 feet, just out of range.
Cool. Ending your turn?
Yeah.
Cool, the figure vanishes and then appears next to you, and its gauntleted hand just turns around with a fist and slams into your face. And that's gonna be
Yeah.
28 to hit.
Yeah, that hits me.
That's 14 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
And then the second strike is 20. It's 34 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
21 points of bludgeoning damage. As it follows up, each one striking you.
Okay, yeah.
You hear, and as I said, who are you, Archon?
He asks me who I am.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's a lot of his HP pool. I think he probably coughs out a kind of globule of blood and just says, "What I am now is clearly not enough. I'm just gonna try smack this figure with this weapon in my hand."
It's a +3 mace, which you are attuned to. You can use strength or dex.
Do I have proficiency with it?
Yes.
Oh, which dice should we roll, man? I'm stressed. I'm gonna roll this one. Let's do the one with the skulls. Shiny one with the skulls. Okay. 11 plus... You said it's a +3? 14.
Yep.
I'm proficient. 17 plus dex. 19 to hit.
19. Not enough, but close. As whatever this is needs to almost parry and catch your thing rather than just avoiding it. And its overwhelming presence stands in front of you as it catches the fist in its own gauntleted fist, and they always seem to match this, and you feel your arm buckle as it pushes back over you.
Okay. I think Kazimir acknowledges this is the second time in his life he has ever been afraid. That's my one attack, because I'm just a wizard.
Yep. 26 to hit.
Yeah, that hit. Silvery Bobs. No, not Silvery Bobs. Not Silvery Bobs. No, we're gonna tank it.
Okay. 22.
Points of damage.
Points of damage.
Yeah, that's a tomb of a Humatalos right there. I think as the hit comes in, he envelops himself in this kind of translucent green-blue soul ice and tries to catch the fist as it comes towards him.
Could you make a strength saving throw for what happens next?
Strength saving throw. I'm strong. Well, that's a 14 minus 1.
Okay. It rolled a 23. As you do the two, it kind of takes a second, thinks about it, comes right up to the ice. Behind this gauntleted mask, you can't help but imagine Fazul's face. It just says, "Not ready yet." And it turns around and kicks you out of the circle, and you just hear as the glass shatters, and Kazimir, you wake up covered in sweat, feeling the punches of what this did to you.
So I'm sat there with my 3 HP.
Oh, you're full health.
Oh, the fuck. Is anyone on watch?
Yeah. We have Mercy, Pod, and Atlas all on various states of still awake. Mercy's meditating, really.
Yeah, I'm counting.
And I think probably his response to that is to maybe once his breathing is regulated and he's dabbed some sweat off his brow, I think he stays up all night with the spell book.
You don't need to stay up all night. Something else happens.
Oh god. Well, he reaches for his spell book anyway, at any rate.
That's fine. You can sit there frantically going through it, thinking about what happened, shaking, shuddering, unsure. Atlas, Pod, perception checks.
Ooh.
Why would I want to do that? Crazy.
Arvis, you're aware your skills will probably be needed.
14.
Sneaking into Razor's camp soon.
24.
Sorry. Repeat that, DM. Clarity.
I'm just aware that Arvis is probably preparing whatever he needs to spend some time sneaking into the camp ahead. Before you guys.
Jolly.
So, 24 from Atlas. What did Pod get? Sorry.
14, unfortunately.
14. Okay, Atlas, you're the first to
like
notice, and you about 3-4 hours past you guys are getting on watch, probably 1-2 a.m. There are how many figures? 7 figures, humanoid, all of them, making their way, not trying to be stealthy, but you notice them first towards your camp.
I'm just gonna quickly go over to Pod and be like, do I get a sense of how many there are?
7.
7, sorry, I missed that. Yeah, I'll go over to Pod and just kind of nudge him and say, we probably have some people coming over towards the camp. We should probably wake the others.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And he just kind of like scrambles up and
I'll go over and wake Quan up.
Kazimir and the rest. Sorry, you go around. Kazimir is already awake, as is Mercy.
Oh. You already awake? It's a strange time to be awake.
Not particularly. Why? What's happening?
Company.
Right.
Caverns. Temples under caverns.
Mercy? Grab and shake Mercy a little bit. Mercy?
Oh, what's wrong?
Oh, sorry to break you out of your trance. I think we have some people coming up to us. Probably not so friendly. Just wanted to, make sure we're all ready and not get caught unawares.
Okay. Can I jump up and start moving? I just grab my quarterstaff and run off, and maybe try and do a circle round, try and spot them.
Yeah. So, I guess what check do you want? A perception check as you all wake up as Mercy goes to look.
Can I use my passive perception instead?
Yeah, if you want. What is it?
21.
You don't really know, but it's fine for now. Mercy, as you arouse the rest of you, Mercy, you run forward, and I'll say Mercy's gone to get the rest of you. What are the rest of you doing or reacting to this?
After I've woken everyone up, I'm going to just kind of knock a arrow on my bow. I'll cast Pass Without Trace on everyone near me, and I'll be like, maybe we should disappear into the undergrowth for now. See what they want, and if they're here with bad intentions, we can surprise them.
Whatever you think. Kazimir's very uncharacteristically distracted.
Sorry,
if everyone's going with that, I will cast Pass Without Trace, so everyone gets +10 to stealth checks, and then I'd recommend some places in the undergrowth to hide, and see when they come into the light of the fire or something.
As they approach,
Yeah.
you can all roll stealth checks. Sorry, others, yes.
I was just going to ask, how long between the notice and before they arrive do we have?
Couple of minutes.
Couple of minutes. In that time, Arvus would probably have thrown down a good number of caltrops, actually, around the camp as we were departing.
So I've rolled a 2. And I'm...
+10.
Yeah. I guess, his heart's not in it, and, maybe he doesn't even move very much. He makes a very half-hearted attempt to kind of shrink back on his bedroll, but he seems more interested in whatever his book is saying.
How does Pass Without a Trace work again?
You just add a flat 10 to your stealth rolls.
Okay.
Okay. So everyone makes a stealth roll.
13 then?
13?
Yeah.
What was it, 12 from Kazimir?
What total is actually 15, to be fair. I rolled it.
25 for me.
25. Quan?
What was the plus again? Sorry, 10.
10,
yeah, +10.
That's a 14.
Mercy. Are you trying to stay hidden or are you watching?
Yeah, I probably not very well based on that 7.
Okay. Oh no, you want to use your passive, right? Mercy, you recognize one of these figures approaching. 6 of them you do not, but one of them, kind of slightly hunched over, looking like a young, blonde-haired, slightly thin, pale boy. It looks like Initiate Jorin.
Okay.
Your order. The rest you don't recognize. The other 6. One of the various agents of the Order of Savras, the Order of Reavers, sent to aid you.
Yeah, I gotta quickly look up what the thing I meant to say is.
So I've come up with a new one, which is from many threads, one tapestry, woven under Saphris's unblinking gaze. That's what you need to say. From many threads, one tapestry.
Okay. Right. Okay. Well, then I will just go. I'll just I think putting that together, I'll go up to them. I will.
The rest of you hidden to some extent. You watch as Mercy approaches, and Mercy, the floor is yours.
Evening, stranger. What brings a group of 7 out in the small hours?
Are you as Atropos right now, or are you as not Jorin? But another one replies, "We were simply hunting monsters, and now our duty is done. We are simply returning home."
Hunting monsters can be as difficult as fishing.
Well, month of breed is over, and no one wants to hire our services anymore. We're returning to Blackwater. Unless you had cause for us here. I ask you the same. It's dangerous to be out alone. Who are you?
Members of the Weavers Guild from Fort Valor.
Members, plural. Ah, yes. The poorly disguised over there. Points to Kazimir and Quan.
Ethel just looks up from his book and says, "What? Who are you? Why are you here?"
Jorin, this is the one you spoke of, surely, is it not? And Jorin looks at you. Atropos. I'm glad to have found you. It is you, yes?
It seems from many threads one tapestry gathers us here on this night.
Woven under Saphris's unblinking gaze, we are joined in his plan. And kind of bows a little bit before you. You are an upper rank to him.
Slightly.
So the one who answered, kind of lean, quite agile man in his mid-30s, kind of very hawk-like features. Never stopped smiling the whole time you've seen him. He says, "Okay, good. We can all drop the act then. Join. Why are we here? Well, we're here to aid, I believe. Yasivu has sent many of us out to different hunting parties. I am here with the Blackwater's bounty. It is true their recent hunt ended off the coast, and now that the monsters have returned, they were looking for employment, and we have hired them. We are at your service."
Is he talking about the other like 5 or 6 people?
So, yeah, he is. So the Blackwater bounty, as he motions to the others.
I guess Atropos kind of turns and says, "Come, friends. They're known to me. We need fear nothing from their presence here on this night, and indeed, they may be able to tell us something. Kazimir, you look like you've seen a ghost."
What did you ask? I'm fine. No, I'm good. I'm great, actually. I was just thinking I could do with a night of staying up and going over some things before the battle. So this is good. I'm glad you've all arrived to make sure we're awake.
And friend, by what name Should I call you?
Which one are you talking to?
I'm talking to Joran.
Joran is fine. I have shed much, and new as I am, I do not have as many of those who have walked in the path.
Very
Soon
well.
I will adopt names. For now, Jordan is fine.
Well,
Please, allow me to introduce you. And just kind of motions at them. Chetli, Brinda, Torvald, Maria, Silas, Greta. Each of them famed monster hunters from Blackwater, those who I have hired for this mission.
It's your mission, to clarify, you're here to help us with Razor, the infiltration of Mountain's Breath.
We are here to find out what has happened with Lilith, to eliminate her lieutenants.
Good.
On the word of mercy of Atropos.
It's very useful of you, Mercy. He's kind of like, seems to be finding his feet a little bit the more he thinks.
Well, your presence here, Blackwater's bounty, and of course, Joran is welcome. We're in the process of taking rest with the idea of an early start. An infiltration. I have divined that any kind of frontal assault on Razor's camp is likely to be unsuccessful.
In this,
But we
are aligned.
We are also on the watch for allies sent from the creditors. Jamie, I've forgotten what they call
Federation.
Federation.
Right, Federation, the creditor.
The Federation. And
The one you spoke of, Malik. Yes?
indeed. And his companions. They are aligned with us, but coordination with them has not been possible. I have been somewhat disturbed in my readings of late.
As have we all. Yarisvu before said that it was similar to the re-emergence, a disaster that affected us. Yesterday, a new ripple emerged. Its purpose unclear. Did you feel it too?
I did.
Have you attempted to read the weave since?
I have managed to glean something, only a small insight this very evening about the best route for these creatures to take. Their most likely outcome. But you seem to have been prowling the night. Tell me, what did you and your companions observe in your foragings?
One of the others speaks up, the one who did before. That Razor, whoever she is outnumbered. Almost 3-1.
Outnumbered by whom? My understanding is that
she's gathered Arakocra, Goliaths, humans, even other races, all working on the mines to dig site. Or one guard with a sword might be worth 3 slaves unarmed. But how quickly those tide turns with just a finger on the scale.
Atlas, could that be something that you might undertake?
I think so. If I could get through to them, I suppose I could.
We saw the aberrant arrive not 2 days past. She fled beneath the earth. We must follow her.
I would add that numbers may be what they are. Razor has amassed a vast amount of power. She has 2 generals, elves, mages of an alternate sort. We don't know what their capabilities may be. Be wary of that in your calculations. Suspect she has some quite heavy hitters sequestered away.
You see as Maria steps forward. This area is not a defensive location. It's almost, in fact, the opposite. As I'm sure you know, when you would want to defend, you take the high ground. We will be able to encircle, look down. They are on the low ground, taking the dig site, the fortifications, with the support of those we free will be a trivial matter. Diving down into the heart of the earth, though. I worry for that. I worry what awaits us beneath, what traps have been laid.
You'll be quite well prepared, I should. One self-serving question. You are Mercy's forces, yes? Should you all succeed in saving the day for us and being the force that helps us defeat Razor, Ilara, would this count as us winning?
Yes, Mercy, I think we should discuss the terms of the help.
Oh, we don't need to discuss. I think we just decide it counts as us winning.
Jorin holds her hand. I have hired this mercenary troop. The job is to me and beholden to me.
And you're here on Mercy's request.
On Yarisvu's request.
I think we could swing that, couldn't we, Ilara?
Lara says, anything that helps us rid the Stormlands of this evil.
Kazimir, what matters? The attribution of victory?
Well, we want to win, don't we? Beat Malik. We don't want King Malik of the Stormlands. That would be awful.
I'm sorry to say, sorry to you to say that I do not care who slays Razor, only that she is slayed.
I agree with you in part there, Mercy, but I think in terms of what comes after, Ilara would be better fit for ruling over a people than Malik. We had been considering what we know about Malik's personality.
I do not believe that this is an issue which we need to concern ourselves with. The futures in which Malik becomes Lord of the Stormlands are innumerably fewer than the futures in which Ilara does the same.
That makes me happy to hear. Okay, fine. So, a plan is materializing here. You have your force, we have ours. We will obviously go straight for Razor. We have to save your people, Atlas. Maybe we can sequence it such that we free your people and get to Razor on the same route.
If there are any warriors or hunters alive who still remain, they may be willing to come down to enact what revenge they can on Razor. So, if we can seek to free them first or on the way, or meet up after, any that are in fighting condition will be as vengeful as I am.
I believe that they may also shed light on the capabilities that Razor's forces have arrayed. In this battle, we must understand what we are facing and what our enemy is capable of. As I understand it, at Reed Home you were not prepared for Razor's magic. This cannot be allowed to happen a second time.
We weren't prepared for her to escape. No, indeed, and her magic was an issue. I will be coming in with full expectation I will be there to counter it. We will need to stop her from getting away. We will need to be able to prevent her invisibilities or ways to track her once she is invisible. If we can immobilize her, I think we ought to. But moreover, this is about the Whirlwind Land, and if she doesn't have it, she can't do her thing and, destroy Savras or whatever she's trying to do.
We must also be prepared for the use of unstable magics from her blood magic rituals to be deployed against us.
Yes, her 2 elven blood mages concern me.
We do not know the extent to which these containers of magic will be used, or in what frequency, from whom, or from where. These are all questions that we must answer, else we walk into a slaughter.
I had half a mind to see if I could understand blood magic, to see if I could think of a way to counter it or reverse it, I suppose, if I saw it used, but...
Kazimir, you must not. I understand your motivations are laudable, but there is a temptation, and the practice of it is reprehensible.
I just question if what I can do tomorrow is enough. I don't think I'm enough right now. And he sort of just seems to be having like this complete mental breakdown in front of you. As the most confident person you've ever seen, just like stares into the middle distance and just goes, I'm sort of weak,
What the fuck? Do you need another hit, Kazimir? You good?
Sorry, yeah, the one introduces Chatley just looks over and says, is he okay? Looks like the stars have gone out of his sky.
It is cloudy.
You all look a
tonight.
little bedraggled, actually. Stormland's not been kind.
At someone being condescending and talking down, it's almost like it immediately triggers something in Kazimir as he just snaps. Them and just say, well, I'm more than enough for tomorrow, to be frank. I could take any of you right now. Prove it.
Yes, there's some of that fire.
Just.
Tuan has his sword.
That's almost there. Almost enough.
Who the fuck
and
are
Pod.
you?
Gently at your service. Bows ever so slightly.
There's we gonna fight energy. Yeah, but he just kind of seethes, maybe a little bit. As Mercy
Kazimir.
is their introductions.
Do not fear. This is the one timeline where there is a chance. We have been granted these opportunities. I know not how, but Kazimir has the sword. And in the futures we succeed, I have always seen this sword.
One sword was that?
Kwan's sword.
Well, I mean, she's just a bandit. I'm not specifically worried about Razor. There's no reason to be worried about Razor. Tomorrow will be fine. We have more than enough for her. We were before, she can die. I mean, it's almost like he's trying to talk himself and convince himself that everything is absolutely fine. But it seems to kind of talk himself into it somewhat. And yes, we have our shiny golden paladin now. It can work. We'll win.
At this point, Jorin says, "Which one is the aberrant you spoke of?"
This is Kazimir.
Ah, the one with no destiny.
He is indeed unlinked from the weave.
I hope he proves useful in the way you believe he will.
These are strange times, Joran. And, as I believe, this may bring us a closer understanding of what these aberrants are.
I'm standing right here, you know.
Kazimir, please.
Goddess Fu disapproves of this plan, but it's the best we have.
For one to kill another would be not unprecedented.
What are you going to do? Assassinate me afterwards?
No,
This is not outside the realms of possibility.
Joran, the weave will correct itself. So I believe.
Kind of bows ever so slightly.
You can try to
Ooh,
kill
I
me
wanna-
afterwards.
Could I quickly insight check him? I want to see if he actually listens.
Who
to
are you
Mercy.
insight checking?
The person who's bowing.
Yeah.
I want to see if they've actually been like, as you say, or it's kind of a
As you say,
like a
smirk.
smirk.
Hides knife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hides knife.
Insights. 19.
19. Yeah, it's as you say, but our mutual boss says no. That kind of shit-eating, like, yeah, sure, buddy.
Okay. What's this guy's name again?
Jorin.
Yorin. Good to know, Yorin.
Yeah.
Jorin is of the opinion that it's like, yes, Mercy, you're in charge, but when Yarisvu gets here, you're fucked. Like...
So yeah, Mercy's like, as Arthur bows, Mercy kind of nods.
It's probably quite strange. Mercy is actively defending you in front of the Order.
Yeah. I think he gets that. I think he kind of steps up to the Order and says, "You can try and assassinate me after this, but I won't die. I have things to do. And I'll do them."
Just out of interest, is this an earshot of everyone? I was under the
Yeah,
impression
yeah.
the conversation started.
All of you are here. Yeah, you hear everything.
Well, I hope that you're joking, as we have no intention of letting our friend be assassinated, but know that if you do intend to, you will be fighting all of us.
He kind of, if you like, bows and looks up at Mercy and says, "The weave wills. We merely follow." And you all perhaps consider the change in Mercy that has overcome over the month or two you've known.
You all like
Presented with what Mercy once was, or directly was.
you all like to talk about me as though I don't have a future. But I do. I have someone I will become. And nothing will stop me from
No,
that.
Kazimir, you are probably mistaken. It was difficult to see what we saw yesterday. But you are an aberrant. And he kind of looks at him kind of meaningfully.
No. No, I have a future, Mercy. I will be unrivaled. I will be unconscionable in might. And I'm going to sit atop this world. And right now I'm not enough, but I will be one day. And I certainly shan't be stopped by any of you. And he looks at the order with a kind of like getting the mojo back smirk, I guess.
Chetly kind of says, "They are boring, aren't they, Fate? Sometimes it's as simple as a dice roll."
Because we're playing D&D.
Ho ho ho.
You roll dice.
As in,
kinda
like, there's dice in D&D and we're playing D&D.
Roll
Yeah,
credits.
also this guy clearly gambles. Thank you, but also
There's a problem.
Mercy kind of laughs, and I don't know exactly what he says, but they say something along the lines of like, haha, isn't the aberrant funny? Like, he's delusional. Like, let him have his fantasies. Mercy's very much trying to convince Jorin that he's trying to cover up the fact that they've seen something to do with Kazimir having a destiny.
yes. Well, we should certainly, if you are resting, we will join you. Mercy, if we may meditate together.
Of course. Jorin, your mercenaries are welcome at our camp for now. And tomorrow we can decide which strategy favors our futures most.
Wonderful. The others kind of so Chetley, Brenda, Torvald, Maria, Silas, Greta begin to kind of set up camp. Is there anything anybody would like to do, or shall we proceed to the next morning?
Very quietly, I think Kazimir will lean into Mercy and Quan and just say, "Thank you." And just straight back to bedroll and read his book and try and not be a worm.
Mercy will write Kazimir a note. Maybe on like a... Maybe on... I don't know if they have any paper.
Do you like me?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
They'll find something to write Kazimir a note on. And then I'll message Clue if that's okay.
So, as the note gets written, Kazimir, we can deal with that in a second. Mercy, you're faced with a conundrum. You want to meditate. You want assistance in reading the weave. But what you saw last, your own ties to the weave. You don't want anyone else to see that, real or imagined.
Yeah.
How do you navigate this?
I guess I imagine it as kind of like an act of will, So I guess they just try and obscure it through sheer force of will.
Wisdom save. Charisma.
So
check.
any attempt to to look at that kind of past, or that anything to do with themselves, they will try and resist. Fuck no, that's an 11.
Okay, I'm gonna roll a Eski, could you roll a d20 for me? You can roll the opposing +2.
I'm rolling a d20 plus 2.
D20 +2, yeah.
Okay, sure. 15.
15. Mercy, as you're both peering through, sheer force of will doesn't cover it, and your minds join, and you're observing the weave together, and you feel the shock and confusion in Jorin as this joined entity, looks down and see the lines not only connecting Kazimir to the weave, but yourself. And in the split second you have upon realizing before Jorin realizes, I'll leave you the next week to consider how Mercy would react, as we will leave it there for the next session on the outskirts. On the outskirts of Razor's camp, with potential allies in your midst, realizing the events of your travels so far have affected you. What will Kazimir do? How is Quan gonna interact with the new god, with what's happened in devotion? Atlas on the cusp of saving Eski, Pod, with the reality of what they've quote unquote done, the gifts beyond them, and eventually we'll get round to the shield, and Arvis. Potentially with more of that powder, more of what they've been looking for ahead of them. We'll leave it all there for next week. Thanks everybody. We'll see you soon.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
We will get into combat next session, I promise.